Hello, this is No Skills on Wheels. For today I want to go over a few basics. How to get everything ready to set off on the bike and what everything is really. I'll go over a few things before I actually get on the bike for a start because you won't be able to see my legs. But this side, on the left hand side, we have the... Get off! We got the gear shifter or the gear lever. We have the clutch over here on the left. And then on the right we have the throttle, front brake. On the right where your foot will go we have the back brake. But to get on the bike you want to come over from the left or whichever side the kickstand is. And then you just want to swing your leg over there until you're nice and comfortable, sit down, and then you want to remember to lift up the kickstand, otherwise you do not want to pull away. And some bikes don't actually start if the kickstand's down anyway, so you'll just be sat there trying to start it and it won't actually move. And then to turn the bike on you just turn the key, and then you want to make sure that your emergency switch is off, otherwise the bike won't start anyway. So then you just, some bikes actually require you to put in the clutch. This one doesn't, but it's a good habit to be in anyway, just in case it's in gear. But it's in neutral. Usually it has a neutral light, but I wouldn't always trust it. And then yeah, just press the button. There you go. Bike is running. And then obviously this is also where the throttle is, which most people, even before they start riding, they know where the throttle is at least. I'll just explain what order the gears go in. They're a bit more confusing, the cars, because they're not straightforward. On a bike you get first gear, which is the bottom, so it goes first gear, half a click up from that is neutral, half a click up from that is second, and then it goes third, fourth, fifth upwards. So you actually have to click down to first if you're in neutral, and then you have to click up from there, which at first is a bit daunting, but it is actually surprisingly easy once you get used to putting it in neutral. If you're always used to starting it in neutral anyway, you'll know to click down and then go up from there, so it's not too bad. So if you want to put it in first gear, you pull in the clutch, change it into first by pushing down. And with this, the worst bit is when you first start riding a bike is to get used to the clutch, because you can actually set off just using the clutch, and I would suggest trying to get used to where the bite point is anyway, which is where the clutch engaged with the engine. You can actually ride it if you're gentle. If you let out your clutch completely, the bike will stall, which isn't something you want to do very often, but it is something worth doing at least once or twice, just so you know how to start the bike again if needed, or if you're at some like traffic lights or stop lights or whatever you want to call them. If you want to start, don't worry about the throttle yet, just play around with the clutch, get used to where it bites, because it will move. You can move on the clutch alone, which is worth learning how to do, because at the moment I'm only using my clutch. It's also another thing to add that before you start practicing, find a long open stretch of road so you don't have to turn straight away, because that is another thing that you will learn. So I'd suggest picking a nice open car park like the one I'm in now, preferably with less glass on the floor, because I didn't realise how much glass there was until I actually came in there. But yeah, if you want to just ride the clutch, you can literally ride it as long as you want. But if you let go, even at this point, it will stall because you're not playing around with the throttle. But if you get used to your clutch control, pull it in, release it a bit more, get used to where it actually engages, and just get used to your clutch. Anyway, once you're moving using the clutch, apply a bit of throttle, and then you can release the clutch completely, and then you're just happily strolling around in first gear, which is all you really want to learn, like wanting to get used to anyway. First gear is the main one, the hardest one. After that, changing up and stuff is actually easy. If you don't know how to corner yet either, cornering on a bike is different. You don't just twist the handlebars. At slow speeds you might be able to get away with it, but most of it is actually leaning. It's actually your body rather than the handlebars. But always, this sounds like a straightforward thing, but look through the corner, because bikes go where you look or where your head is pointing. So if you panic, then you're going to end up in a bush. But if at any point you're trying this all and you do panic, just pull in the clutch and apply front brake, back brake, all of them if you want, but make sure you're ready. That's why you should start slow. To change gear, pull in the clutch, put it up into second, release the clutch slowly, increase the power. First gear is basically the move off gear. All the gears after that are pretty standard. And don't forget your back brake if at any point you're getting a bit out of control, but you're in control, but you don't want to grab the front brake because it'll fall, like your bike will fall over. Just you can ride the back brake, which helps with slow maneuvers, but this is more advanced stuff. If you're just wanting to learn the basics, just remember where throttle, front brake, back brake, clutch, and the gear changer is really. Once you get used to that, that is the basics of the basics. Once you've done that, practice coming to a controlled stop, which is applying your brakes, pulling the clutch, and put your foot down. And there you go. Now you're back in control, and then just put it in neutral, which is half a click up, so it's the gentlest of clicks from the first gear. And then you're in neutral, slowly release the clutch before you just let go, just in case you're not in neutral and it will just bump. But it's not the end of the world if you stall. Everyone stalls. Everyone will stall as soon as they learn how to ride a bike. And there you go. That is the basics of riding a motorbike. I think I've covered everything. I'm not going to cover all the indicators and stuff because you might be wanting to learn how to ride a dirt bike and stuff, so that's irrelevant. Well, if you like my video, please subscribe, like it, share it with friends, share it with family, share it with everyone. Take as many tips from it as you want. If you don't like my video, you don't have to watch it. But thanks for checking out anyway. Happy riding, be safe, see you later.